Here we are in round 3 of the Toronto, not Columbus. We are doing commentary after the fact here for the Toronto Regional, the third regional that we had. We are going into round 3, and we're going to have a great matchup here. It looks like we've got, is that Zach I see on the right?
Yep, that's Zach and a couple international players here. It's Canada versus Brazil with
Brazil.
Diego on the left.
So in Canada, but representing his home state, we've got Zach. Representing Sao Paulo is going to be, I believe he's from Sao Paulo. It's going to be Diego.
And they both have some very interesting takes on some decks here. Zach's been running the Wukong Witch combo, and whereas Diego's deck is kind of an interesting Leonidas spin, or it's similar to more along the lines of like a draw deck, like similar to what Phil Miller played in Seattle, but with his own spin on it.
I think what's interesting is I like that Zach's version of this is playing the Mummy, and he's got an Asclepion, which I think that's normally part of it, but I like seeing the Mummy on the front line for this version.
Yeah, I think there's been some interesting variations of this with Joan of Arc. There's been some with Mina, and I'm a big fan of the Mummy. I think that he's just such a strong defensive character. I love his inherent ability too, and I think he's just this one-man Asclepion character.
Yep, I agree. Diego's got the full avoid on Deja Thoris right away. That's a powerful card, but Zach answers right back with discard a placed card. Diego answers right back with the Nautilus, which would avoid the discard a placed card if he wants to use it on that. Probably better to keep the Deja avoid, Protector of Barsoom, I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think early on you want the Deja one, and as the game progresses and damage gets distributed, I think that's when the Nemo card becomes better.
Now, he's got a 300 for Leonidas, a 5 multi with the teamwork, the 5 half multi on Billy the Kid. Diego has just drawn some serious heat this first hand.
Yeah, being able to throw that defense down this early is a great way to just start immediately controlling the pace.
Now, Zach only chooses to play 4. He's got a teamwork and an ally that are the same suit and an any power. So literally every half his hand is on the table, and it doesn't even represent a second power type, and it doesn't give him a huge amount of pressure for cumulative KO, depending on what's in his hand. The scariest thing Diego's looking at here is that Wicked Witch card. So Diego's trying to decide what he's going to venture here. I think if I'm in Diego's shoes, I'm going to go 3. I'm going to risk the third one.
I think especially because, again, you could take that 3 and 4 no problem. This is a big reason why I don't play. I play as few of the Axis 4 teamworks as possible and try to run as many any powers as I can, because I think the 8 and the 6, if that were an any power teamwork, would actually be a bigger threat.
Yep, I agree.
Than the other two merging.
All right, exactly what we thought was going to happen. So he throws the ally. It looks like Diego's going to just... I'm assuming he avoids the card.
Yeah.
And ends Zach's turn. Would have ended anyway. It just looks like he's going to save the Nautilus.
Yeah. I think
so now
that's probably the better play, but...
I agree.
Oh, and it looks like he concedes.
Now, look, I don't hate this play either. I have watched a few of Diego's games now, and I do think he's a little more of a defensive player. I think he likes to do a lot of what we used to see from the great Phil Miller, placing that war chest and almost always running as soon as he can.
Yeah, he's definitely made up the card advantage. He's got the card, and most of what he's placed is 1 per decks. The only things he can really dupe is the 8 and the 5. So that's...
And the Billy 5 if he's running multiple.
Right.
But I think that, like, it goes to show you, that's another bit of discipline. Zach probably had something he could have shot off from his hand first, seen if maybe a power card went at one of the wings to really put that special for the Mummy in play.
Yeah, he did want to probably get rid of the avoid as ASAP, but that's a tough one because the ally had to be placed as well, so...
Yeah, it's just he really didn't want to have to use two placed cards and put himself down, 2 to 5,
Yeah,
especially when Diego's are so good.
yeah, it was a 2-for-1 there on the place cards, but I'm not sure if he was expecting Diego to run that way, so we'll see how it's gonna if it's gonna
Yeah,
affect the
he
long term
probably
outcome.
that's true. Looking at it through knowing Diego's just gonna run, cut and run, um, he probably expected him to throw some hands back and forth a little bit first. So Diego has chosen Leonidas to shift the attacks away from. Not surprising, he's gonna protect his A character. Zach has chosen the Mummy to shift away from because of the John Carter event. Also not surprising because now Diego has to be worried about the I think it's Ancient Wisdom, which is the power card avoid and draw.
Yep. Oof, wow. And more defense on Diego's side. It's like he drew two of the one protect defensive cards. Now Merlin and so basically two special card avoids at the same time, and one's a draw card.
Yeah. And it's I will say this, Heimdall gets a lot of hate, so I think it's
Oh,
great. I didn't know Diego was playing this. I think it's great to see what this is going to do.
I think Heimdall is actually a great hedge card in the sense of if you're not sure about playing the draw three and you're not sure about playing something like Fairy Protection, I think it's the perfect in between. Gives you a defensive card, and I think a lot of times you will dupe on a draw three more often than you realize, whereas one card is going to be more likely a keeper. And sometimes that's all you need to turn the tide of a battle. So I think Heimdall's great.
Gives you another defense against the Grim Reaper also.
Yep. Wow.
Weapons of wrath and hatred right out of the gate on the Mummy. Interesting in that he could have shifted it to either target he wanted, but I think Diego just wants to. I think what he was hoping was going to happen there is he would chew up his avoid.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to really conserve the place cards and maintain the advantage that way because I think he needs to win this battle with as little effort as possible if he wants to flip the momentum because as much as he's got a placing advantage, he wants to maintain that, but he is down the venture, right?
Yeah. Now, I'll be honest. If I was Zach, I think he made a little bit of a mistake blocking the 10 there. I think he's got the event. So he can let the 10 just sit there, and he's got the offensive negate if he needs to get rid of it at the end of the hand. All he's done right now is give Diego a great target for Gemini if he has it, and or anything else that can get it out. And he doesn't have a target for his offensive only negate. So right now certainly that if they keep punching, that's going to come into play, but
Yeah, I mean, and there is a 4 energy teamwork place that stacks with that hit. I'm a big fan of when I run Asclepion myself, I take those first couple hits almost instantly, unless it's going to be an energy icon on the mummy, which in this case it can't be that because it can be shifted. I
Right. Well, it would have been an energy icon, and there you go. See, that's exactly what I was saying. That's what I would have been worried about is he's opening with the 10 just to give himself something
Yeah.
that the Gemini can go get. And that 10's going to suck up another premier defense card. Throwing 20 points of energy damage out there in the first 2 attacks,
Yeah.
forcing him to use up all his premier defense. I don't know.
I think now he's just going to have to take it, and then I would look to remove it later.
And I still don't think that's terrible.
No, I mean that's the great thing about an Asclepion deck, right? Like that's what I think. That's why I think they're so strong is they have that flexibility.
And even and that's why people really talk a lot of smack about those offensive only negates, but it's like once that it's still a premier card defensively in this situation. He can sit there the entire battle and say, "Oh, I'm only 6 behind. I'll get rid of the 10 and win." Or he has the flexibility to say, "You know what? I'm going to lose anyway. I'll run and then I'll opening move try to take it off with the offensive negate." Worst case scenario, it draws the defensive negate, which is still good.
I mean, this is the biggest thing with the Asclepion is that it's the ability to chain into other cards that will allow you to draw. That's the biggest thing is that if you use that offensive negate and draw a Mummy 5 or another negate or something else that will let you draw a second card, now you're healing a character completely. and a lot of opponents won't want to see you get away with that, no matter what the situation is.
Again, so I want to comment on that concession again by Zach. I don't love it. Zach's got the draw 3. He's got the teammate avoid a power card draw in a 7. I think I'm firing off the draw 3 there. Like, it's probably going to draw the negate, and then I don't have to deal with that negate later.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. That's transport trickery place, or is that cloud surfing on Wukong?
That's cloud surfing.
So he still has a defense there, and I mean,
and the mummy, he can't be targeted, so neither of the characters on the wings had damage. Like,
did he have the power card avoid draw?
Yeah.
Did he just? Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I would have at least burned off the negate by playing the draw 3, taking 1 turn at least, and then maybe eating a hit. Like, it's just with Asclepion, the problem is your comeback factor is being able to remove hits, and at this point you're in the third battle with no hits on anybody.
Yeah, you don't want to be running here without taking some damage. Like, him damaging you is good.
Especially if it's place cards. That's ideal. In this case, he's just 2 behind on cards, and it just looks like Diego is just maintaining that initial lead, and it's just kind of amplifying itself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Diego's got 9 cards placed to Zach's 4.
Yeah.
So Diego's going to pass. Zach's going to put a couple more down, bring it to 7 to 9.
Now, the interesting thing about Asclepion builds is that taking hits does get you cards back. So if you can take enough damage where it's not going to do anything to you, you can, like, in a very sneaky way, level out massive card advantages sometimes. It's still very difficult to win the venture that way, but I mean, it's a good way to just kind of take one battle, take a bunch of damage, and even the score. But I don't know if Zach's going to have a card that will enable him to do that.
So Zach caught up some on place cards, but he did realize at the last second he had a duplicate copy of the Eternal Journey that he did have to discard. So he's even 1 less in hand now. Diego's got a commanding hand and more cards placed. It looks like he's only gone 2, though.
Interesting.
Or maybe he's gone 3 and Zach's trying to decide if he's even going to draw it or not. That looks like what's happening.
Yeah, like the priority for Zach at this point is that because Diego drew his defense early, is you need to retaliate with the KO pressure. No, you're right. Zach does concede. So the goal is going to be you have to force Diego to burn off the Heimdall, the Negate, and the Nemo card. Once those are gone, even if you're down cards, you can kind of you can get some momentum back by forcing KO pressure and forcing concedes that way. But when 3 defensive cards are placed like that, Diego's just in total control.
So, unfortunately for Zach, too, there, he didn't have a very good hand, but the card he had to run away from was the transport trickery.
Oh, really?
Now, that's a great card, though. You know, you almost might have wanted to create a situation there where you just make Diego throw some placed cards. But Diego just had so many in hand, he probably wasn't even going to have to. And again, that's one of the things I've noticed about both Felipe and Diego, the only 2 players we've played with from that Brazilian group. They are all very high end with their placing, and they're disciplined to play cards from hand. And that's such a high level skill that you don't necessarily see that in a lot of the newer players.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you run into these weird draw situations where you just can't make up the cards. Like, you just have weird hands with power cards in them or something. But, I mean, even I know Zach is just trying to get cards down to keep up, because I know that 7 on Wukong is not ideal. He's kind of got some janky placement right now.
Yeah, I agree. And the mummy kind of seems like the path right now, even though the mummy has the inherent.
Yeah, 100%.
Wolves, Crows, and Black Bees comes out on Wicked Witch.
Now the cloud surfing does make up the Heimdall card, which is good, but I think it still is probably going to be too little, too late, even with the dupes, because I don't think did Diego dupe anything this hand? I don't. But was it just the 5 or was that last hand?
I can't tell, but I mean, he's got at least 6 cards there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like he's got 6 cards total. He's almost entirely placed out. Every place card is live.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be. I mean, I don't think there's anything that Zach can have at this point. Again, because the hits are the thing that will even the score here. He needed to have hits. Maybe if he's got the Wukong heal, but without transport trickery or a way to really push it and initiate it, it's still going to be very difficult. I mean, I don't know how Diego doesn't venture for the win here. And I think he's venturing too. No. Okay, he's thinking about it still. There's just nothing that I see on Zach's side that I would have to be really concerned about.
Yeah, I think Zach's. I think this is going to be a good one to watch kind of post game because I think it's a really good example of multiple situations and multiple opportunities to start to recover from the placement advantage. I think I'm not picking on Zach. I think that watching what Nor just did in a game where he was under a very similar situation and had to come back from a huge placement advantage, he really did good to make him fight when he needed to make him fight. I think Zach had certain opportunities here to make him use certain cards up. And he was a little nervous to take the damage. I think if he had managed to absorb 4 cards on his permanent record at this point already, he might have been able to really manipulate that just the situation that he's in right now better. So that is target character may not play specials. Captain Nemo is...
Oh, wow. Okay, so he defensively negates it. I guess he's worried about the Merlin retaliating.
Yeah, I mean, respect.
I probably would have played my own Merlin first, though, if he ventured for the win and saved the card. But he does have a lot of strength icon. The way Asclepion would be able to come back from this is that if Zach did have, say, 3 to 4 hits spread across characters, and you're able to remove 2 of those, and you're taking more hits, it's really easy to come back from a 4 to 5 card deficit that way because you're taking 2 to 3 hits and removing another 2 with a stall that all of a sudden your opponent's at a gas and they're staring. You haven't thrown any attacks yet.
Interesting. So Zach, I'm talking about round 2 still. Zach goes for a big chain. He throws Soupe from the home base with the aspect. He follows up with one of the 4 making additional attacks. And then Diego just says, I've had enough of that. And he negates it with his Merlin.
Especially
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was all going to be intellect because he could have called the A multi-intellect as well if he wanted to. I don't know why he played that over the 5 or some of the other stuff he had, but...
Also important to note, Diego went for the win, so the Billy the Kid 5 doesn't really have a secondary ability anymore.
Yeah.
It only moves an unventured mission.
Now, this is... If I were Zach, the thing I would try to do is defend the multis, and I would be trying to take as much of that energy and intellect as I could on Witch. You're not going to have the option of defending everything here, so you have to take the stuff that's going to do the least amount of damage and apply the least amount of venture, and I think that's...
I agree. I mean, he's got some card draw. He's going to draw a card off the cloud surfing for some big attack, like one of the 8s from Leonidas.
Yeah, and if he's very careful with the turn economy, he might be able to, I don't know, maybe dodge the Merlin. Like maybe he can play other cards before a special card attack, forcing Diego to pass and then tap to play Merlin without being able to throw the card he draws. But I mean, I think that's a long shot.
I don't hate this play here with the teamwork, though. It's his on-color combat teamwork. Playing it as a second power type when there's multis on the board, I do like that. I think it turns it into something that Diego is going to say, nah, I don't want that to hit.
Yeah, and you really want to spend the only intellect on something like that. That would be ideal for Zach, but it's whether or not Diego's going to comply with that or not. And I think that's the right target.
Yep. So he gets the initial teamwork down. He's spreading some colors about. That hitting is going to give him a nice little cushion on the venture.
And I mean, that any part teamwork is a kill shot. That 8-7 follow-up combo is huge. So that will KO somebody if they can't defend any of it. But the Nemo card, I think, is stopping that.
All right. There's the big one.
Now, a mummy avoid draw would be fairly huge, but
that would be huge. But he's got the cloud surfing, which I think is what we're gonna see here. It's a 10 at this point. So no, it's a 9. So it is over the 8. It's a 9.
Oh, it might only be a 6, so it might only be an 8. Was the first attack off the teamwork?
Oh, I guess I was thinking he threw another one first, but no. So that was only an 8. Okay, so he was able to block that with a power card. That's great. I know you always want to throw the 8, but if you're defending with an 8, that works too.
Oof. Oh, that's a ugly draw for Diego.
What did he draw?
He just drew an anti-power teamwork. I don't even think he can follow that up. Oh. And he had to play that on the... Oh, and he...
plays the cloud surfing on the ally, gets another card.
He did get a mummy negate. So he could play Merlin on this. Yep.
Yep. So he Merlins the 5.
Yep. He might be able to put enough pressure on here to actually pull this out. I don't know.
Yeah, this hand has been, it just goes to show you with the right plays. That's one thing I love so much about Overpower is there's you're worried about 3 things constantly with each attack. What color it is for Spectrum, how much it is for cumulative, and how much it is for venture. And there's times where if he's going to create a 4 and a 3, creates a spectrum issue on Leonidas, that a card is still a card.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to create a situation where he's going to be able to go, teamwork, 2 kill shots, and maybe Diego doesn't have that out of the cards left in his hand.
Oh, that is playable. That surprises me. I didn't think that was, so. I mean, it is still low, though.
Oh, the low 2 is enough to take out the Wicked Witch. Zach can't run away, so he's not doing anything wrong.
So we've seen the 8 already, so I think and the discard, so he might have 2 or 3 Wicked Witch cards left? The 7 and...
I mean, we've seen a discard, we've seen the 8, we've seen Harnessing Winds. I don't think we've seen a 4. And we've seen I'll have those silver shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a question if he's playing aquaphobic or if he's playing multiple of the other ones.
Yeah.
But he's probably not. We're probably not looking at more than a 3-card loss here by losing her. It's more that that's his 8.
Yeah.
Sun Wukong's an 8-2. Honestly, he's probably only running the 8 any power for her.
Yeah, I wouldn't run any energy with her. I think she's just too big of a target.
All right, so he throws the teamwork there. Then I believe, no, he hasn't done the follow-up, but the Nautilus is going to come out and be a big block there. He's going to follow up with another fighting card. He's going to put Leonidas at 14. So 6 or more will kill him. An energy or an intellect hit will kill him. And so Diego's going to send off 300 offensively.
And Zach negates it
Zach's
on
going
his
to
turn.
let it hit, and then he's going to offensively negate it. Now it's back to Diego.
This is tight. Wow. Oh, he still has a lot of venture in his hand, maybe. I don't know what Zach's last card is. It is fairly close. This is a very good game.
So we're doing some math here as they're trying to add up who's ahead and who's behind.
Oh, it's just a power card. I don't even think that would KO. Oh, it does. Just does. Just barely gets over. But I think if Diego can defend that, he wins. Well, maybe.
He's so Zach's got 22. Diego's got 12, 21, 22, 26. And I think that's just gonna get him over the top.
Yeah.
Right? Zach's out of cards?
Yeah. I think that's the last. So that would be 16 points plus another, so it's 26 points on Diego's side. Zach's 13 and 7 is 20. 28? Did Zach win by 2 points? He did.
Yeah.
Wow.
But at what cost?
I mean, yeah, like still,
although
there's no 8 characters left.
He does have an 8, and Diego doesn't. Diego went all in on that.
The Mummy's still totally fine. Like, I think Zach is happy to trade Leonidas for Wicked Witch.
I think at this point, 100%.
And that 3 mission gutter is going to actually force this to go a bit longer than I think Diego hopes. Wow. This just reset the game.
Yep, for sure. That was a big hand, and that was definitely a swing.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to whether or not Diego could have drawn a playable card. I didn't think they were going to be that close, but if he hadn't have drawn that second teamwork off that Merlin or the Heimdall, that would have actually changed the... Oh, Zach does have an 8 energy.
And a Harness the Wind.
Yep.
All right, so they both got discard a remainder of game special and play on opponent's side. If you do so, they're +3 to venture. Neither one of them have one in play.
Yeah.
That's one of the prize pack events. One of my, if not my favorite event in the first set.
Oh, that card's huge. You're playing against the Korak or anything like that, even a grid bump deck or...
Ty, I wasn't at this one, but we saw some great Barsoom stuff coming out of the Boston Massacre for the NAOL event, the Battle for Boston now, as we call it. Your dad actually won most original deck with his version of Barsoom. How much did we see of that at the Canada event?
Not as much Barsoom as I think even Columbus. I think people were kind of experimenting with different ideas, and I can't remember if Marcel was playing Barsoom because he did play it in Columbus, or if he experimented with something different. But there wasn't a lot of other. I found the decks for this tournament were along the lines of what we're seeing. It was variations on some of the stuff we've seen already, or we had some newer players that were putting their own spin on like everything, and it was wholly original. But I mean, it was still a very good. Still a very diverse tournament, and I think that's what's been good about it. Like we're still seeing people have their favorites, and they're sticking to some aspect of those, but there's still enough side stuff to make it interesting and make it feel fresh.
Well, Zach certainly has some great cards here. Particularly, I almost don't know if I would have placed that 8. He's got the full heal off Sun Wukong. He's going to want to hit that as fast as he can, get Wukong back to fresh, and draw a card off it off Asclepion, because right now he won't have a current battle hit on him.
Yeah, especially I think he is going first as well, so
Yeah, I think you just don't place that 8 and you just first play heal him.
I mean, I've done crazy things in these spots where if there's a card that I really need to play, I'll venture as high as 3, knowing that I could lose those missions just to get the card off. And this is a spot where I would do that for Zach. I would venture 3, leave it in my hand, knowing that like it's I'm probably gonna lose the venture just to play it.
Does he realize? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, look, he did it anyway. So
Yeah.
kudos to him. And what did
He may have forgotten until it was already down.
Yeah, but he still needs to make the play.
Yeah.
I think what he wanted probably was just to represent that really deadly teamwork string, the offsuit energy teamwork off the mummy into the 1 into the 8 that would get a +1 bonus.
Yeah.
As a 9, I mean that's pretty good. If he was even able to he could sort of do something tricky like throw the Billy the Kid as a non-death shot on Captain Nemo, which makes the 8 a kill shot. Then do the teamwork to another target and get the 8 over the top as a 9. There's a few little tricks like that he can try to set up to make that 8 really devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Nemo's place cards are a bit of a liability at this point.
I agree. Diego is, however, hammering him with some big attacks still. And then Zach decides to run.
And he didn't play the ally? Oh, he drew the ally. Never mind. I was wondering why he didn't play the ally before the Wukong card, but I guess he drew it.
Yeah. Now, what we haven't actually seen yet, correct me if I'm wrong, has Diego played a draw 3 yet?
No, which is very interesting. Because at this point, there could be that situation where he just draws a boatload of Leonidas, which would be very rough.
Looks like he just discarded at least 2 Leonidas cards. Trying to see how many he has in his hand. So 1, 2, 3. Can't quite. I think he discarded 2. So we saw the negate go by. We saw something else go by. It looks like Zach's got pretty much a full mint. It looks like he dropped at least the 7 for the Wicked Witch. And the placing's going to start. Zach ran, so Diego puts down the ISIS 2 multi on the home base. Zach places Pharaoh of the 4th Dynasty, which is a 7 that would allow the mummy to heal. I think he said, I don't know if he said pass or it was a duplicate fine, but the draw 3 goes down on Deja. A 7 and 8 power teamwork goes down on Billy the Kid. A 1. Zach puts one of his preternatural healings on. And this is exactly what you've been talking about the whole game, Ty.
Yep.
Letting that 7 hit was a positive thing because now his Asclepion is online again.
That's exactly it. And that at this point, the later the game goes, the more those become duplicate high power cards or whatever. And especially with that Mummy 7, if that hits and you remove a current battle hit, plus you remove a permanent one, like it just gets the way that Asclepion can snowball itself is really unlike any other home base. And that's the other thing that Zach has going for him that Diego doesn't have, which is that Diego's damage is permanent, Zach's isn't.
Is Zach conceding again?
Yes, I think so.
Well, he gets out from under the 4, make an additional attack into Diego's Grim Reaper. So Zach's very happy to see that gone. He did not have a defense for it, so he's probably going to end up losing at least 2 cards.
Oh, I see what happened. That was his last hand before the power pack, and he hadn't seen the Reaper yet, so he probably knew it was in the hand, and then just decided he couldn't stop it, so it wasn't. This is actually very good pre-battle power pack war, but Diego's going to have some issues the longer this goes.
Yeah, I think he needed to close this a little bit earlier. I think Zach recovering that 1 big hand, then getting the big heal off, and now, even though he's going to be out of his main deck soon, he's leaving himself with some tools to do more healing and to guarantee when it's going to get through.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if Deja can't
Mummy,
stop it.
Right, and if Mummy takes a hit, he's gonna almost know by default once the Freya has gone off the home base that 7 is a free heal on Deja.
Yeah.
Hit her for 7, heal the hit, draw a card, attack with another power card.
Yeah, or the 5/5 on Billy is another. Like, there's just too many cards that I think Diego has to stop here. That's the issue, and I think that just, yeah, I totally agree. I think this is going to be difficult. Now, that 6, though, that Nemo 6 can be really sneaky, but...
It sure can. That is a tough card. So that's simply a 6 intelligence, cannot be defended by a placed card. And a lot of times that can really snake some... That can be snuck in there very well, I guess the best way to say it.
Yeah. And I don't know which Deja card that is. Is that her draw 3, or is that the venture one?
That is the draw 3 that he placed.
Okay. So
now he could even, in theory, have 2 in his hand because he's had the quiet running placed on Captain Nemo for multiple hands.
Right. And have we seen his Gemini yet? I don't know if we've seen Diego's Gemini. I don't think.
Yeah,
we did.
He tried to use it in the first hand to get the,
you're right, the
weapons
10.
of wrath and hatred out. So we have seen that. We've seen his negate. I think we've seen pretty much all of his any character cards now.
Now, if I were Zach, I would be focusing almost exclusively on Deja, unless you can KO Nemo with the placed cards. You want him to break even on the draw 3 by getting rid of the cards on Nemo. Oh. Now that could be a devastating hit. If he got one other card with that.
Yeah.
And the 1 strength is being placed to Billy, that could be rough. But yeah, so that's what I would be aiming to do, is showing kill shots on Nemo. Everything else would be to just try to smoke Deja as soon as possible.
And I mean, that's what he did. He played the ally for the Spectrum. Now, the other thing that could be interesting here, if it happens, that does count as a hit. So if he has a way to remove it as a hit later on, and enable those mummy cards to come back to life, he can target that with the removal.
Yeah, it would have to come from a teammate.
It would.
But yeah, you're right.
So he ended up doing what I said. He played the 5 to get him up to 13. So now a 7 is a kill shot.
I think I would have preferred that on Deja, though. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's hard without seeing exactly what's in Zach's hand. I don't know how many 7s he has and how important that is. But remember, he still has to punch through Diego's Freya.
Yeah. And it can be somewhat risky sometimes playing the high power cards this early in the hand, but when you have a remove and you can draw into another one, I think it's probably the right thing to do. I may have held on to at least the 7, though.
Now, we also, these guys do have to start worrying about time. And although I do think Zach, neither one of them are playing slowly, but this is a very back and forth game. So, I do think now at this point, rewind. He's got the 11. It is not for venture. It is just the kill shot.
Okay, so that's the right thing to do then. You want to use the 11 and draw out the Freya then.
And that he needed the 5 to hit. He needed 1 more venture on him. Now, he could have tried to be real sneaky and play the 1.
Yeah.
But I think like a good character, a good player is generally too smart for that. But sometimes I've been in situations where I'll make that play and have him go, oh, you have the 11, because that 1 would put me at 9. And then they use a card to block a 1 that's not a kill shot, and I don't have it, and I'm trying to generate the venture that way.
Yeah.
All right, the Freya is going to give warning, and she is going to avoid the 11. Silent running is coming out. This cannot be defended with a placed card. He doesn't have one that can defend it anyway, so it's not as big of a deal in that respect.
Oh, I do not like taking this if there was any way around this because that one energy now is going to have to be a must block unless he's got something low. Oh, and he had a confusion. That may have actually helped Zach
Wow.
if depending on how many power cards he had. It may have given him the second
Yeah, that's
follow-up.
true. Yeah, he may that may not have been the worst thing in the world.
Okay, that's safe.
Still 7 though.
Yeah. I mean,
Is Diego going for the win here?
no.
I think he. You sure? I
Oh,
think
he
he's just
might
going
be.
2.
No, you're right.
I think he's going 2 for the win. I think Zach needs to make sure. I think Zach's just going to run out of steam to the draw 3.
Yeah, it's going to come down to what he draws.
And maybe you were right. Maybe he needed to fully pivot and just get some pressure on Deja.
Yeah, you can't let him just set up that draw 3 and draw for free at the end when he can play all his power cards. You really need him at this point to draw nothing but like 8s that he has to discard or something goofy like that, but depends on what Zach has left in his hand. They're pretty close at this point again. I think Zach's up. Are they completely even?
Diego's hemming and hawing, but why? Why? Just throw the 1. The 1's a kill shot. It's going to eat up a card in his hand. Well, I guess the 4 does the same thing. Maybe he wants to try to get the 1 energy on the mummy.
Sure, I guess that's valid, but I mean,
Well, look, it hit. So what do we know? Zach currently has 20 on the board. Diego has a lot more with a draw. Zach just knows he can't generate the venture. So even with a Reaper in his hand and making him able to discard the cards that he draw 3s with, I think at that point he was going to have to pass. He would have got 1 attack with the mummy. I think Diego could have forced him to pass.
Yeah, he needed to. He see. I think he was trying to get a little too greedy to set up the leech. I think he waited too long, and eventually the leech became basically a discard. Or sorry, the Grim Reaper. I mean, like I think he should have just played the Reaper to nuke the Freya, and then followed that up with the 11 to KO Nemo, and you would have at least got 1 card through Nemo that way. And now you could have focused on Deja Thoris towards the end, and maybe that would have been the difference on the draw 3.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he could have. He still would have had to hit him with either the 1 or the 5 first, but yeah, I think you're right. I think that might have been a more optimal path. But look, Zach got way behind, fought a great game, and Diego didn't let it get into his head that he was losing hand after hand after it looked like he was going to win. And he managed to get the venture right back up there. And he put Zach in a position where he could bet for the win against Zach, and Zach couldn't run. And that was the key. He did it at the right time, and then he closed the deal. So I love watching Diego play. I've only been at 2 events with him this season, but he's been traveling all over, and just what an exceptionally strong player. I'm looking forward to the Brazilian tournament, which I'm going to try to see if I can get down to. And it's great. It's great seeing our South American community loving the game and being so good at it.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot about how competitive and how much work they've been putting in down there. I just love it. Some of these new players, this new generation, just putting in the time and grinding and getting to this ability so fast. It's just a reflection. Great game, great everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much, guys. That takes us through round 3. 4 more rounds of Swiss. Who is going to rise to the top and be our top 8 at the Canadian Regional? And let me plug our great host real quick. 401 Games, exceptional venue for playing games or holding an event.
Yeah, this was their Vaughan location, and they like rolled out the red carpet for us. I have nothing bad to say about them. They were incredible the whole way, start to finish. Made sure we could use their computer if we needed it. We had a clock and everything for it, and everything went really smoothly thanks to just an incredible space. So
excellent. All right, thank you very much for being with us.